We have free-range plums which grow everywhere, of all different varieties, and we've particular focus on medlars, a pretty old European fruit, and quinces. We've got a few apples and tomatoes, crab apples, and plums. Did I say plums?
Yes, you did.
Plums.
We had you lots of plums. But whatever's seasonal or local here, we just make and make and make. And it's things like all the stone fruits that we grow here in Bathurst over the summertime, and of course the tomatoes, and we can grow eggplants and zucchinis and all of those things that grow really well in the summertime here. But as we get into autumn, it's changing. You can get some plums and things in autumn, but then you're looking at things like your medlars and your quinces and things, and they're all starting to sort of come into season, and of course your apples, and there's an abundance of apples here. Jam melons is another thing, of course, but they always come around just about when the Bathurst show's on, around that April, May time. And then, of course, then we start making lots of stuff with those. And of course, we have an odd summer here in Bathurst, as you know, so you don't always get the good red tomatoes as you want, but one of our biggest popular products is, and it's really what I started me into preserving, is green tomato pickle.
I think one of the key things, if we don't produce it, then we source it locally.
We find somebody who does.
We really don't go out. We go out of our way to not produce something that is not locally sourced. We want to know where it's come from. Obviously, some things like sugar and salt aren't from here, but everything else we pretty much try and make sure.
We've got our berries too. We're starting to grow berries, and we can get a lot of local berries here as well. Strawberries, raspberries, the whole gamut of those. So we make a lot of products with those as well. About 3 cafes that we do bulk wholesale supply for them to use for the cafes. And we also have about 3 or 4 businesses around town that we sell our retail products to. They wholesale those off us. We do the farmers market every month, the Bathurst Farmers Market, and people, this year that's really taken off, because I think people are realising that you don't want to have things from overseas. You don't really know the source, what chemicals they use, anything like that. So they like to know if you've grown it here, you've made it here, that they actually want to buy it. So that's a real resurgence of that this year. And then we just get a lot of people travelling the state, because of course they couldn't get out of the country. So we've had a lot of orders go down to Sydney and other places where they've been giving them as Christmas gifts and so forth. So we're probably going to try and get an online business up this year, but that's the next step in the process, really. Well, the Kelso Fruit Market on the highway is probably our biggest buyer. And of course people are travelling through all the time and they stop there. So we supply a lot of product to them. The Bathurst Information Centre, they have a big range of our product, and the Harvest Cafe, which is just opposite there,
and
they
Bespoke.
use it bulk and they sell it in there, and Bespoke, which is a
Keppel
lovely
Street.
little handmade business down the bottom of Keppel Street, started selling there as well. It helps the local economy. It's keeping it in the region, within the state, within Australia, so it's not, going out of the country with multinationals or whatever. And it's helping people to sort of to get their dreams up and running and start to grow their product and say, well, where can we, get people to buy it and actually, showcase the wonderful stuff that we do grow here, because there used to be a lot of orchards around here. And over the years that's sort of gone down, but they're all just starting to sort of look at actually producing again, I think. I have memories of a child going to the Leichhardt swimming pool, and we used to make cheese and pickle sandwiches, because of course you didn't have a lot of money to buy things then, and that's my favourite thing, is to have the cheese and pickle. And it's one of my biggest selling products. I do run out of it all the time.
I think there's one other. There's a recipe. Here's a recipe. You've got so one of the products that we've developed is a gin and tonic marmalade.
Oh yes.
Marmalade. So it's a lemon marmalade with a gin flavouring, right? It's heightened. So that tradition is about 300 years old, of adding whiskey or rum or brandy or something to marmalade. And so we have been making a whiskey marmalade, a gentleman's marmalade as they call it, or a heightened marmalade for ages, but with gin and tonic. I was a bit, that's a bit odd, but so Sheena went ahead and did it. And I said, what would you use it with? And it's a beautiful breakfast,
Marmalade.
But it makes a wonderful champagne cocktail.
Or a gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic.
Just put a bit, rather than lemon, I just put a little spoonful of that in my gin and tonic. So it makes it a nice cocktail.
And then the other product is our rosemary and sage shell food, or crazy salt.
Yeah.
So It is a flavouring that can be used in stews, on meat, on
roast vegetables.
boiled potatoes. We're being told by our
boiled.
customers is the
Oh, well, probably best through our Facebook page is probably the best. We have Instagram as well, but they could just click on and message us and we respond.
It's got our email and phone number, and if they're not on Facebook, illalangafarm@gmail.com.
Just have to Google us, Langa Farm. We're the only one in Australia.